Hana stared at the message on her datapad, reading it for the 5th time. Her hands shook slightly as she held the device. This could not be real. This had to be some kind of mistake. Assignment confirmed, the message read. Participant Hana will be paired with Human Liaison Officer Teho for the Interspecies Integration Program. Duration, 6 months. Report to Housing Unit 7B on station date 422. 6 months. 6 months living with a human. She set down the pad and walked to her small window. Outside, the space station buzzed with activity. Ships came and went. Beings from 100 different worlds moved through the corridors. The galaxy had changed so much in the last few years. Humanity had arrived and nothing was the same. Hana's people, the Valorians, had lived in peace for thousands of years. Their world was gentle. Soft rains fell on green fields. Small creatures grazed on sweet grass. There were no predators on Valoria, no hunters, no violence. Her people had never known war until they met the other species in the galaxy. Even then, they preferred to talk, to negotiate, to find peaceful solutions. But humans were different. Everyone knew this. The door chimed. Hana turned to see Counselor Bora entering her quarters. The older Valorian woman had kind eyes, but today they showed concern. You received the assignment, Bora said. It was not a question. Yes. Hana's voice came out smaller than she wanted. Bora moved closer, her movements slow and careful, as all Valorians moved. I know you are frightened. I have seen the videos, Hana said. I have read the reports. Humans are... They are... dangerous, Bora finished for her. Yes. That is what everyone says. Hana nodded. She had spent the last week researching humanity. What she found had not helped her fear. Humans came from a planet called Earth, a death world by galactic standards. Their sun burned hot. Their gravity was crushing. Their world was filled with creatures that killed and ate each other, predators that hunted in packs, poisons in plants and animals, weather that could freeze or burn. And humans had survived it all. More than survived. They had conquered their world. The videos showed human soldiers in combat. They moved with terrible speed and strength. They could fight for days without sleep. Some reports told of humans continuing to battle even with injuries that would kill most species. They felt pain, but they pushed through it. They could chase prey for hours, running until the animal simply dropped dead from exhaustion. Hana had watched footage of human martial arts, 2 humans fighting each other for sport, hitting and kicking and throwing each other to the ground. The crowd cheered. The fighters smiled afterward, blood on their faces. What kind of species did such things for fun? And the food. Hana's stomach turned when she thought about it. Humans ate meat. They killed animals and consumed their flesh. They had entire buildings dedicated to preparing dead creatures for eating. Some humans even liked their meat rare, still red and bloody. Their eyes faced forward, like all predators, like hunters. The integration program is important, Bora said gently. Humanity wants to prove they can live peacefully with other species. They have chosen their best people for this. Their best people, Hana repeated. What does that mean for a species of predators, the ones who are best at hunting? Bora sighed. I will not lie to you, Hana. Humans are frightening to many species, but the galaxy has accepted them. They have technology we need. They have knowledge we can use. And they have asked for a chance to show they are more than what we fear. What if I cannot do this? Hana asked. What if I am too afraid? Then you tell me. And we will find another assignment for you, Bora said. No one will force you to do this. But I believe you are stronger than you think. And I believe this experience might teach you something important. After Bora left, Hana spent the rest of the day packing her few belongings. She had 3 days before she had to report to the housing unit. 3 days to prepare herself. She tried to focus on the positive things she had read about humans. They had art, beautiful paintings, and music that could make people cry. They had literature, stories that other species enjoyed. They valued family. They laughed. They cried. But every time she thought about these things, her mind returned to the darker facts. Humans had fought wars on their own planet. Terrible wars that killed millions. They had created weapons that could destroy entire cities in seconds. Even now, in their history classes, human children learned about these wars. They studied battles and strategies and famous warriors. What kind of people taught their children about killing? On the final night before her assignment began, Hana could not sleep. She lay in her bed staring at the ceiling. Her mind created scenarios, each worse than the last. What if the human became angry? What if she accidentally offended him? Humans had so many strange social rules. What if she broke one? She had read that humans could become violent when provoked. Their bodies flooded with chemicals that made them stronger and faster. They called it adrenaline. Their heart rate increased. Their pupils dilated. Their muscles tensed for action. Hana's people had no such response. When frightened, Valorians froze. They became still and quiet, hoping danger would pass. It had worked on their peaceful world. But what good would freezing do against a predator? The next morning, Hana gathered her bags and made her way through the station. Other beings moved around her, going about their daily lives. She saw a group of Threen engineers, their 4 arms working on a wall panel. She passed 2 Kixian traders, their scales gleaming under the station lights. A family of Beltros walked by, their young ones chirping happily. Normal life. But Hana's life was about to become very abnormal. Housing Unit 7B was in the new section of the station, built specifically for the integration program. The door was standard, gray metal with a number pad. Hana stood in front of it for a long moment, her bags at her feet. She could still leave. She could contact Bora and request a transfer. No one would blame her. But something made her stay. Maybe it was pride. Maybe it was curiosity. Maybe it was the small voice in her head that said she should at least try. Hana reached out and pressed the door chime. For a few seconds, nothing happened. She could hear movement inside. Footsteps, heavy footsteps, coming closer. The door slid open. Hana looked up at the human named Taiho, and every fear she had ever felt rushed through her body at once. He was tall, much taller than her. His shoulders were broad. His arms showed muscle even through his shirt. His eyes were dark, and they looked at her directly. This was a predator. This was a hunter from a death world. This was a creature that could probably break her with his bare hands. And she was going to live with him for 6 months. Hana's hands gripped her bags tighter. Her breathing became shallow. Every instinct told her to run. But Taiho did something she did not expect. He smiled, and then he stepped back, giving her space. Taiho stepped back from the doorway, his hands visible at his sides. He did not reach for her bags. He did not move toward her. He simply stood there, giving her room to enter if she chose. "Hello?" he said. His voice was quiet, much softer than Hana expected. "You must be Hana. I am Taiho. Please come in. Take your time." Hana hesitated at the threshold. Her training told her to be polite, to follow social rules, but her instincts screamed at her to be careful. She watched Taiho closely as she stepped inside, keeping the maximum distance between them. The apartment was larger than she expected. The main living area had a kitchen on one side and a sitting space on the other. 2 doors led to what must be the bedrooms. Everything was clean and organized. The lighting was softer than standard station lighting, closer to what Valorians preferred. "I hope the light is okay," Taiho said, noticing her glance at the ceiling. "I researched Valorian environmental preferences. If it is not right, I can adjust it." He had researched her species. Hana did not know if that made her feel better or worse. Did predators research their prey too? Your room is the larger one, Tai-Ho continued, pointing to the door on the left. It has a private bathroom. The door locks from the inside, and only you have the code. I cannot enter unless you open it. Hana stared at him. The larger room? Yes. I thought you might want more space. I do not need much. He moved toward the kitchen, and Hana instinctively stepped back. Tai-Ho noticed and stopped immediately. Sorry. I will stay over here. I was just going to show you the food storage. I stocked it with Valorian items. The program gave me a list of what your people eat. Against her better judgment, Hana moved closer to the kitchen. She opened the cooling unit and saw containers of grains, vegetables, and fruits that were common on Valoria. Everything was labeled in both human standard and Valorian script. If there is anything you do not like or need more of, just tell me, Tai-Ho said. My food is in separate storage. I thought you might not want to see. Well, I keep my things separate. He meant his meat. Hana appreciated that he did not say it directly. She nodded slowly. The first few days established a pattern. Tai-Ho kept his distance. He moved carefully when Hana was in the same room, no sudden movements. He announced himself before entering shared spaces. I am coming into the kitchen, he would say. Or, I will be in the living area if you need anything. Hana watched him constantly, waiting for the predator to show itself. She noticed everything. The way he was always aware of where she was, the way his eyes tracked movement, the controlled grace in how he walked. These were hunter traits. She was sure of it. But other things confused her. Every morning, Tai-Ho prepared breakfast for both of them. He never commented when Hana took her food to her room to eat alone. He simply set her portion aside and cleaned up afterward. He kept the apartment spotless. He was quiet, especially in the early mornings and late evenings, as if he knew Valorians preferred calm during those times. On the fourth day, Hana emerged from her room to find Tai-Ho sitting on the floor of the living area. His eyes were closed. His breathing was slow and steady. His body was completely still. She watched him for several minutes, unsure what to do. Was he sleeping? Humans did not sleep sitting up, did they? It is called meditation, Tai-Ho said without opening his eyes. Hana jumped slightly. I am sorry. I did not mean to startle you. I do this every morning. It helps me stay calm and focused. You need help staying calm? Hana asked, before she could stop herself. Tai-Ho opened his eyes and looked at her. There was something sad in his expression. Yes, humans have strong emotions. If we do not learn to control them, they control us. This helps. He stood up in one fluid movement. Hana took a step back. Tai-Ho noticed and deliberately turned away, walking to the kitchen slowly. Would you like tea? He asked. I found a Valorian blend at the station market. That afternoon, Hana worked in her room on her diplomatic reports. She could hear Tai-Ho in the main area, doing something that involved soft thuds and breathing. Curious, she cracked her door open to look. Tai-Ho was exercising. He wore loose clothing and moved through a series of positions that looked like fighting stances. Punch, kick, turn, block. His movements were precise and controlled. Sweat dripped from his face. This was what she had feared. The warrior training, the violence. But as she watched, Hana noticed something. Each movement flowed into the next. There was a rhythm to it, almost like a dance. Tai-Ho's face was calm, focused. When he finished, he bowed to an empty corner of the room, a gesture of respect to an invisible teacher. He turned and saw her watching. Hana expected anger at being observed. Instead, he just smiled slightly. Sorry if I disturbed you, he said. I try to do this when you are in your room, but I know the sound carries. What is it? Hana asked. Martial arts, a human practice. It helps us stay strong and disciplined. He grabbed a towel and wiped his face. I know it probably looks violent, but for me it is about control, knowing what my body can do so I can choose not to do it. Hana did not understand. You train to fight so you will not fight? Exactly, Tejo said. Humans have a saying. The warrior who has never been in battle is eager for one. The warrior who knows to avoid it. Over the following days, Hana began to notice more things. Tejo's schedule was strict. He woke early, meditated, exercised, then worked on his liaison duties. He cooked his meals at specific times, always when Hana was not in the kitchen. He kept his meat sealed away. Once, Hana saw him preparing it and he immediately stopped and apologized, even though she had been the one to enter unexpectedly. I can wait, he said. This can wait until you are finished in here. It is fine, Hana said, though she did leave quickly. That night, she found a note on the kitchen counter. I will prepare my dinners at 1900 hours, it read in Valorian script. I will be done by 1930 hours. The kitchen will be yours after that. I apologize for any discomfort. He was working around her schedule, accommodating her needs. This was not predator behavior. Predators took what they wanted. They dominated their territory. Hana started staying in the common areas more. She still kept distance between herself and Tejo, but she stopped hiding in her room constantly. She watched him work on his computer, writing reports in multiple languages. She noticed the photos he had on his desk. An older woman with kind eyes, a younger woman holding two small children. My family, Tejo said when he caught her looking. My mother and my sister Yuna with her kids. They are on Earth? Hana asked. Yes. I send them money to help out. And I call them every week. He smiled at the photos. I miss them, but this work is important. One evening, Hana made herself tea and sat in the living area instead of retreating to her room. Tejo was reading on his data pad. He looked up, seemed surprised to see her, but said nothing. He just went back to his reading. They sat in silence for nearly an hour. It was not uncomfortable. Tejo did not try to make conversation. He did not stare at her. He simply existed in the same space, quiet and calm. When Hana stood to go to her room, Tejo spoke softly. Thank you for sitting with me. It was nice to have company. Hana paused. You are alone often? Yes. Many people are afraid of humans. I understand why, but it can be lonely. He looked at her directly, and Hana saw something in his eyes she had not expected. Sadness, isolation, the look of someone who wanted connection but could not have it. In her room that night, Hana thought about what she had seen. Tejo was careful, considerate, respectful. He gave her space. He accommodated her needs above his own. He was gentle in his movements and words. But he was still human, still a predator from a death world, still capable of terrible things. Hana told herself to stay cautious, to keep watching, to remember what humans truly were. She did not yet realize that what she had seen in Tejo's eyes was exactly what he saw in hers, fear of being misunderstood, and hope that maybe, just maybe, someone would see past the reputation to the person underneath. 3 weeks into the assignment, Hana woke up feeling wrong. Her throat hurt, her body ached. When she tried to get out of bed, the room spun slightly. She sat back down, breathing carefully. This was not good. Valorians rarely got sick, but when they did, they needed specific care. The station had Valorian medical supplies, but Hana would need to get to the medical center. She just needed to rest for a moment first. She must have fallen back asleep because the next thing she knew, someone was knocking on her door. Hana? Tejo's voice came through. It is past your usual time. Are you okay? Hana tried to answer, but her throat was too sore. She managed a small sound. Hana, I am worried. Can you unlock the door? She should tell him to go away. She should handle this herself. but her hand was already reaching for the control panel beside her bed, pressing the unlock button. Taiho opened the door slowly. He took one look at her, and his expression changed. The calm, gentle look disappeared, replaced by sharp focus. He moved into the room quickly but stopped a few feet from her bed. "You are ill," he said. It was not a question. "What are your symptoms?" "Throat hurts," Hana managed to say. "Tired, dizzy." Taiho pulled out his data pad immediately. "I am checking Valorian medical databases. Do not move. I will be right back." He left the room. Hana heard him moving around the apartment quickly, opening cabinets, accessing the apartment computer. He was muttering to himself in human language, words she did not understand. He returned with water and a blanket. "Your temperature is elevated. I checked the environmental controls. You need to drink this, small sips." Hana took the water. Her hands shook slightly. Taiho noticed. "I am contacting the Valorian medical liaison," he said, already working on his data pad. "They will know better than the station's general medical staff. Hold on." For the next hour, Taiho moved with purpose. He spoke to the medical liaison, a Valorian doctor named Mireille who guided him through what to do. He adjusted the room's temperature and humidity to the exact specifications Dr. Mireille provided. He prepared a special drink with nutrients that Valorians needed when sick. He brought Hana medicine from the station pharmacy, checking 3 times to ensure it was the correct type. "The doctor says you have a respiratory infection," Taiho explained as he helped her sit up to take the medicine. "It is not dangerous, but you need to rest. Your body needs 3 to 4 days to fight it off." Hana took the medicine. It tasted awful, but Taiho had water ready immediately after. "I am going to stay home from work today," he said. "You need monitoring." "No," Hana said weakly. "You do not have to." "I want to," Taiho said firmly. "You are sick and alone. That is not acceptable." Over the next few hours, Hana drifted in and out of sleep. Every time she woke, Taiho was nearby. Not hovering, not crowding her, but present. He sat in the corner of her room, working quietly on his data pad. When she stirred, he looked up immediately. "Do you need anything?" he would ask. Sometimes she needed water. Sometimes she needed help to the bathroom. That was the most humiliating part. She was too weak to walk steadily, and Taiho had to help her. The first time, Hana tried to refuse. "I can do it myself." "You will fall," Taiho said gently. "Please, let me help." He supported her weight carefully, one arm around her shoulders, the other steadying her. He was strong enough that she weighed nothing to him, but he moved slowly, matching her pace. When they reached the bathroom, he waited outside, giving her privacy. By the second day, the fever hit hard. Hana's temperature spiked. She felt hot and cold at the same time. The room seemed to blur around her. She might have called out. She was not sure. Taiho appeared beside her bed with cold compresses. "The fever is part of the healing process," he said, his voice calm and steady. "But we need to keep it from going too high. This will help." He placed the compress on her forehead, and the coolness felt wonderful. When it warmed up, he replaced it with a fresh one. He did this for hours. At some point, Hana started to cry. She was not sure why. Maybe the fever. Maybe the fear. Maybe because she felt so weak and vulnerable. And there was a human predator in her room, and she could not defend herself. "Hey," Taiho said softly. "You are going to be okay. I promise. The doctor said this is normal. You are doing everything right." "I am scared," Hana admitted through her tears. "I know," Taiho said. "Being sick is scary. But you are not alone. I am here. I will take care of you." And he did. For 3 days, Taiho barely left her side. He slept in the chair in her room, waking every few hours to check on her. He prepared the special foods Dr. Mirai recommended, bland and easy to digest. He helped Hana eat when she was too weak to hold the spoon steady. He changed her bedding when she sweated through it. He kept the room at the perfect temperature, adjusting it as her body's needs changed. On the third day, the fever broke. Hana woke up feeling weak but clear-headed. Taiho was asleep in the chair, his datapad still in his hand. He looked exhausted. There were dark circles under his eyes. His clothes were wrinkled. He had not taken care of himself at all. He had focused entirely on her. Hana watched him sleep and felt something shift inside her. This was not how predators behaved. Predators did not sacrifice their own comfort for prey. They did not stay awake for days nursing someone back to health. They did not look at sick people with such gentle concern. Taiho's eyes opened. He sat up immediately when he saw she was awake. "How do you feel?" he asked. "Better," Hana said. Her voice was still rough but stronger. "Much better." Relief washed over Taiho's face. "Good. That is very good. Are you hungry? I can make you some of the grain soup." "Taiho," Hana said, "why did you do all this?" He looked confused. "What do you mean?" "You stayed with me. You did not sleep. You took care of me. Why?" Taiho seemed surprised by the question. "Because you were sick. Because you needed help. And I could give it. Why would I not?" "I have been afraid of you," Hana said quietly, "since I arrived. I have treated you with suspicion. I have barely spoken to you. And still you did this." Taiho was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "I know you have been afraid. I know what humans look like to other species. We are big and strong, and we come from a violent world. I understand that fear. But that does not mean you deserve to suffer when you are sick. That does not mean you do not deserve kindness." "But I have not been kind to you," Hana said. "You have been polite. You have been respectful. You have been dealing with fear, and fear is not your fault." Taiho stood and stretched, his back cracking. "Besides, you are starting to sit with me in the evenings. You ask me questions sometimes. That is progress. That is kindness in its own way." He went to make her soup, and Hana lay in bed thinking. She thought about everything Taiho had done. The way he had researched Valorian medicine in the middle of the night. The way he had contacted Dr. Mirai and followed every instruction exactly. The way he had carried her to the bathroom, so careful, as if she were made of glass. The way he had sat with her through the fever, his voice steady and reassuring, promising her she would be okay. That afternoon, when Hana felt strong enough to sit up properly, Taiho brought her the data pad. "Your family sent messages," he said. "I told them you were sick but recovering. I hope that was okay." "You contacted my family?" "I thought they would want to know. And I thought hearing from them might help you feel better." Hana read the messages from her mother and father, full of concern and love. At the end, there was a note from Counselor Bora. "Your human liaison reported your illness to me personally and has been sending daily updates. He has taken excellent care of you. I am glad you are recovering." "You have been reporting to Bora?" Hana asked. Taiho looked sheepish. "I wanted to make sure I was doing everything right. She gave me advice on Valorian comfort preferences. She is very knowledgeable." He had asked for help to better care for her. He had reached out to her own people to ensure she was comfortable. That evening, Hana got out of bed for the first time in 3 days. She was shaky, but she made it to the living area. Taiho helped her to the couch and brought her tea and a soft blanket. "You should be resting," he said. "I have been in bed for 3 days. I needed to move." Hana looked at him directly. "Thank you for everything you did." "I cannot repay you." "You do not need to repay me," Taiho said. "I was glad I could help." "Why?" Hana asked. Why were you glad? Taiho thought about it. Because it felt good to be trusted with something important. Your health, your safety. You let me into your room. You let me help you when you were vulnerable. That is a gift, Hana. That is trust. And trust is something humans value very much. Hana realized he was right. She had trusted him. When she was too sick to protect herself, too weak to run, she had let him care for her. And he had honored that trust with gentleness and dedication. Maybe, she thought, she had been wrong about some things. Maybe there was more to humans than she had believed. Maybe there was more to Taiho than she had allowed herself to see. After her illness, something changed between Hana and Taiho. The walls Hana had built started to come down. She still watched him, but now with curiosity instead of fear. She wanted to understand this contradiction. How could a species so capable of violence be so gentle? One evening, about a week after Hana had recovered, she heard music coming from Taiho's room. It was beautiful, soft and sad, with a single instrument that sounded like water flowing. She stood outside his door, listening. The door opened, and Taiho looked surprised to see her. Sorry, is it too loud? No, Hana said quickly. It is beautiful. What is it? A human instrument called a piano. This piece is called Clair de Lune. It means moonlight in an old human language. Taiho smiled. Would you like to come in? I can show you more human music if you want. Hana hesitated only a moment before nodding. Taiho's room was neat and simple. A bed, a desk, some shelves with books and data pads. On the wall were photos of Earth, beautiful places, mountains and oceans and forests. Taiho pulled up a chair for her and sat at his desk. What kind of music do Valorians like? Soft, harmonious, nature sounds, Hana said. Then you might like this. Taiho played another piece. This one had multiple instruments creating layers of sound. It rose and fell like wind through trees. This is called Spiegel im Spiegel. It was written by a human named Arvo Pärt. They spent the next hour listening to music. Taiho played pieces from different human cultures and time periods. Some were joyful and energetic. Others were sad and thoughtful. All of them were beautiful. I thought human music would be aggressive, Hana admitted. Loud and violent. We have that too, Taiho said with a laugh. But we also have this. Humans feel many things. Joy, sadness, love, loss, hope. Music helps us express those feelings. Humans feel love? Hana asked. She had not considered this. Taiho looked at her with surprise. Of course. Love is one of the most important things to humans. Love for family, for friends, for partners. Many humans say love is what makes life worth living. He showed her the photo on his desk. This is my mother. Her name is Jiwon. She raised me and my sister alone after our father died. She worked 3 jobs to send us to school. Everything I am is because of her love. Your father died? Hana asked gently. Yes, when I was young. He was a construction worker. There was an accident. Taiho's voice was sad but not bitter. My mother could have given up. Life was very hard, but she loved us too much to stop trying. He pulled up a video on his data pad. This is from last week. Watch. The video showed a small house with a garden. An older woman, Taiho's mother, was on a video call. Next to her was a younger woman with 2 small children. The woman must be Yuna, Taiho's sister. Taiho! The children shouted in the video. They were so small and energetic. Uncle Taiho, look what I made! One child held up a drawing. I drew a spaceship. Video Taiho laughed. That is an amazing spaceship. Are you going to visit me in space? Yes, I will fly there and give you a hug. Hana watched Taiho's face as he watched his family. His eyes were soft. His smile was genuine. This was pure love. There was no violence in it, no aggression. just tenderness and joy. I send money home every month, Taiho said. It helps my mother and sister, and every week we talk like this. Those children, my niece and nephew, they are the most important people in my world. You must miss them, Hana said. Very much. But this work matters. If I can help humans and other species understand each other, if I can show that we are not just the scary things from our past, then maybe the galaxy will be better for children like them. Maybe they will grow up in a universe where humans are welcomed, not feared. Over the following days, Hana asked more questions. Taiho seemed happy to answer. He told her about human history. Yes, there were wars, terrible wars, but there were also periods of peace and cooperation, humans who worked to end suffering, humans who created art and science and philosophy. We had a man named Dr. Kim, Taiho said one evening. He dedicated his life to helping people with a terrible disease. He saved millions of lives. We had a woman named Malala who fought for education for girls, even when people tried to kill her for it. We had countless people who chose kindness when they could have chosen cruelty. But you also had people who chose cruelty, Hana said. Yes, Taiho admitted. We did. Humans are capable of terrible things. Our history has dark chapters. We hurt each other. We destroyed our own environment. We created weapons that could end all life on Earth. How can one species contain such opposites? Hana asked. Taiho thought about this. Because we have choice. That is the key to understanding humans. We evolved as hunters, yes. We have instincts for violence and aggression. But we also evolved intelligence and empathy. We can choose which instincts to follow. He stood and began to pace, something Hana had learned he did when thinking hard. The same traits that made us dangerous also make us protective. Our aggression can be turned toward defending others. Our persistence in hunting became persistence in helping. Our ability to work in groups to bring down prey became the ability to work together to build civilizations. But how do you choose? Hana asked. How do you control something that is in your nature? Practice, culture, values. Taiho sat back down. Humans teach our children from a very young age about right and wrong. We tell stories about heroes who protect the weak. We praise kindness and punish cruelty. We create laws and social rules. And we practice self-control every day. He smiled. Remember when you asked about my meditation? That is part of it. I meditate to stay calm. I exercise to channel energy in a positive way. I follow routines to maintain discipline. Every human in the integration program was chosen because we have proven we can control ourselves, that we choose compassion over violence. Hana thought about this. It sounds difficult. It can be, Taiho admitted. Humans have strong emotions. When we are angry or afraid, our bodies prepare for action, our hearts race, we get adrenaline. It takes effort to stop and think instead of just reacting. But that effort is worth it. That effort is what makes us civilized. The next day, Taiho showed Hana human literature, stories and poems and plays. Some were about war and conflict, but many were about love, sacrifice, and redemption. There was a story about a human who gave his life to save others, a poem about a father's love for his daughter, a play about enemies who became friends. This is what humans aspire to be, Taiho said, not the warriors, though we remember them, not the conquerors, though they shaped our history. We aspire to be the helpers, the healers, the builders, the ones who make things better. One evening, Hana found Taiho watching a documentary about Earth. It showed cities being built, children learning in schools, doctors treating patients in hospitals. It showed humans working together to solve problems. Is this propaganda? Hana asked. To make humans look good? Taiho laughed. No, this is real. This is what most humans do every day. We go to work. We take care of our families. We help our neighbors. The violent things you see in the news and history books are real too. But they are not the whole story. Most humans, most of the time, are just trying to live good lives. He paused the video on an image of a human teacher with a classroom of children. That is what I wanted to be, originally. A teacher. I love children. I love helping people learn. Why did you join the integration program instead? Hannah asked. Because I thought I could do more good here. I could help entire species understand each other. I could be a bridge. He looked at Hannah. Like what is happening with us? You were afraid of me. You had every right to be, based on what you knew about humans. But now you are sitting here talking with me, asking questions. That is the goal. That is the dream. Hannah realized he was right. She was sitting comfortably in the same room as a human. She had stopped flinching when he moved. She had asked him to help her pick something from a high shelf yesterday, and when he reached up, she had not been afraid. She had just thought about how convenient it was that he was tall. You have been very patient with me, Hannah said quietly. You have been very brave, Taiho replied. Facing your fear, living with someone who scares you, slowly learning to trust, that takes courage. I respect that. That night, Hannah lay in bed thinking about everything she had learned. Humans were complicated. They had darkness and light. They were capable of great destruction and great love. They chose every day which part of their nature to follow. And Taiho had chosen gentleness. He had chosen patience. He had chosen to care for her when she was sick, to respect her fear, to give her time to understand. Hannah thought about her own people. Valorians were peaceful, yes. But was that because they chose peace, or because they had never known conflict? They had no violence in their nature because they evolved without it. But humans had violence in their nature and chose against it. Which was more admirable? She was not sure. But she knew one thing. She was starting to see Taiho not as a human, not as a predator, but as a person. A person who loved his family, a person who valued kindness, a person who worked hard to be better than his instincts told him to be. And that person was becoming her friend. The alarm started at 0300 hours. Hannah woke to the sound of emergency sirens and red lights flashing in her room. Taiho was knocking on her door within seconds. Hannah, there has been an accident in the station. We need to evacuate to the emergency zone. Hannah grabbed her emergency pack and opened the door. Taiho was already dressed, his pack on his back. His face was serious but calm. What happened? Hannah asked as they moved into the corridor. Part of the new construction area collapsed. Multiple housing units affected. People are trapped. Taiho guided her through the hallway, one hand on her back to keep her steady as others rushed past. The emergency zone was crowded. Beings from dozens of species gathered, all looking worried and confused. Station security was trying to organize everyone. Hannah saw Counselor Bora across the room and made her way over. Are you hurt? Bora asked immediately. No, we are fine. Our unit was not affected, Hannah said. An announcement came over the speakers. We need volunteers with rescue training. Multiple beings are trapped in the collapsed section. Children are among those trapped. If you have medical or rescue experience, report to Emergency Coordinator CASP immediately. Hannah saw Taiho's expression change. Without a word, he started walking toward the coordinator's station. Where are you going? Hannah called after him. I have rescue training. I have to help. He looked back at her. Stay here. Stay safe. But Hannah followed him. She reached the coordinator's station just as Taiho was signing up. I need to see the situation, Taiho was saying. How many trapped? What species? What are the dangers? Coordinator Casp, a four-armed threen, brought up a holographic display. 17 beings trapped. 5 of them are children. The structure is unstable. Another collapse is possible. We are waiting for heavy equipment. We do not have time to wait, said another voice. Hannah turned to see another human, a woman named Somin. If the structure collapses more, those children could die. The risk is too high, Casp said. I cannot send people in until the structure is stable. Then send humans, Taiho said. We can handle the risk. 3 more humans arrived. A man named Jinho, a woman named Yunji, another man named Daehyun. All of them had the same determined look. Show us the layout, Yunji said. We can get them out. Hana watched as the humans studied the hologram. They spoke quickly, planning, organizing. Their whole demeanor had changed. The gentleness was gone, replaced by sharp focus and intensity. This was the side of humans that scared everyone, the warriors, the hunters. Hana, I need you to do something, Taiho said, turning to her. Children are trapped. They will be scared. When we bring them out, they will need someone calm and kind to comfort them. Can you do that? Yes, Hana said immediately. But Taiho, it is dangerous. I know. He smiled at her, but his eyes were serious. That is why we have to go, because it is dangerous, and those children cannot save themselves. The humans moved out in a team. Hana watched them go, her heart pounding with fear. Not fear of them anymore. Fear for them. The next 2 hours were the longest of Hana's life. She waited with other volunteers, preparing medical supplies and blankets. They could hear sounds from the collapsed area, metal groaning, voices shouting, sometimes crashes as debris shifted. The first child came out in Yunji's arms, a small Kixian, no more than 4 years old, crying and scared. Hana rushed forward. Hello, little one, she said softly, taking the child from Yunji. You are safe now. You are very brave. The child clung to her, and Hana carried her to the medical area. More children came out. More adults. The humans worked like a machine, coordinated and efficient. They lifted debris that should have been impossible to move. They squeezed into spaces too small for most species. They worked without stopping, without complaining. Then there was a sound that made everyone freeze. A deep groaning from the structure. A crash. Section C is collapsing, someone shouted. Yunji is still in there, another voice called. She was with the last child. Hana's blood went cold. She saw Taiho, who had just come out with an injured Beltros, turn and run back toward the collapsing section. Taiho, no! Someone yelled, but he was already gone. The next few minutes felt like hours. Everyone waited, silent and terrified. Then movement. Taiho emerged from the collapse, covered in dust and blood. In his arms was Yunji, unconscious. Behind him was Jinho, carrying a small Valorian child. They stumbled out just as the entire section collapsed behind them. Medical teams rushed forward. Yunji was alive but injured. The child was scared but unhurt. Taiho had cuts all over his arms and a gash on his forehead. His hands were torn and bleeding. Hana ran to him. Taiho, you are hurt! I am fine, he said, but he was breathing hard. The child. Is the child okay? Yes, the child is fine because of you, Hana said. But look at your hands. Taiho looked down at his hands, as if noticing the injuries for the first time. They were shredded from moving sharp metal debris. Blood dripped onto the floor. I could not leave her, he said simply. I could not leave Unji in there. I could not leave that child. Hana helped him to the medical area. As the doctor treated his wounds, Hana watched the other humans. Somin was crying as she hugged the children she had saved. Jinho was getting his own injuries treated, but he was more concerned about checking on everyone else. Daehyun was exhausted, barely able to stand, but he was helping organize supplies. They had risked their lives. They had pushed their bodies past what should be possible. They had ignored their own pain and exhaustion to save others. This was humanity. This was what they were capable of when it mattered. Later, when the crisis was over and everyone was safe, Hana sat with Taiho in their apartment. His hands were bandaged. He had stitches in his forehead. He looked exhausted. "Why did you do it?" Hana asked. "You could have died." Taiho was quiet for a moment. "Do you remember what I told you about human nature? About how we have to choose?" Hana nodded. "This was the choice," Taiho said. "We are strong. We are tough. We can endure pain. We can do things that would kill most species. We have all these abilities because we evolved to survive a dangerous world. But what do we do with those abilities? That is the question every human must answer." He looked at his bandaged hands. "I could use this strength to hurt people, to dominate, to take what I want. But I choose to use it to help, to protect, to save children who are trapped and scared. That is the choice that defines us." "But you got hurt," Hana said softly. "Yes, and it was worth it. Every human in that rescue team would say the same. We would rather be hurt ourselves than let innocent people suffer. That is what humans call compassion. Not just feeling sad for others, but acting to help them, even when it costs us something." Hana thought about everything she had seen. The humans working together. The way Taiho ran back into danger for Yunji and the child. The way Somin cried with relief when the children were safe. The way all of them had put others before themselves. "I was wrong about humans," Hana said. "I thought you were terrifying because you are strong and dangerous. But the truly terrifying thing is that you choose to be gentle. You have all this power, all this strength, and you use it to help." "Is that terrifying?" Taiho asked with a small smile. "Yes," Hana said honestly, "because it challenges everything I thought I knew. It is easier to understand a predator who acts like a predator. But you are predators who act like protectors, warriors who choose peace, beings capable of violence who choose kindness instead. That is harder to understand. That requires more courage." Taiho reached out slowly, giving Hana time to move away if she wanted. She did not move. He placed his bandaged hand gently on hers. "Thank you," he said. "Thank you for seeing us. Really seeing us. Not the reputation. Not the fear. But who we actually are." "Thank you for showing me," Hana replied. "Thank you for being patient while I learned." They sat together in comfortable silence. Hana looked at this human, this person who had cared for her when she was sick, who had shared his music and his family with her, who had risked his life to save children he did not even know. She thought about the report she would write for the integration program. She had so much to say now, about how humans were more than their reputation, about how strength and gentleness could exist in the same being, about how the choice to be kind was more powerful than the ability to be violent. "Taiho," Hana said, "I want to extend my assignment. I want to stay longer." Taiho looked surprised and pleased. "Really?" "Yes, there is still so much to learn. About humans, about building bridges between species. And I think I can help. I can tell other Valorians what I have learned. I can help them see what I see." "What do you see?" Taiho asked. Hana smiled. "I see a person who loves his family, a person who meditates to find peace, a person who saved children from a collapsing building even though it cost him his blood. I see someone who showed me that true compassion is not just being nice when it is easy. It is choosing to help when it is hard. Choosing to be gentle when you could be harsh. Choosing to protect when you could dominate." She squeezed his hand gently, careful of his injuries. "I see my friend." Taiho's eyes became wet, and Hana realized humans cried when they were happy too, not just sad. He smiled through his tears. "I would be honored to have you stay," he said, "and honored to call you my friend." Outside their window, the space station continued its work. Ships came and went. Beings from 100 worlds went about their lives. The galaxy was vast and complex, full of different species with different ways of being. but in one small apartment, a Valorian and a human sat together. Proof that fear could become understanding, that prejudice could become friendship, and that the scariest species in the galaxy might also be the kindest, if only others took the time to truly see them. Hannah had feared that life with a human would be terrifying. She had been right, in a way, but not because of violence or aggression or predatory nature. It was terrifying because it had changed her completely. It had shown her that everything she believed could be wrong, that monsters could be heroes, that the most dangerous beings in the universe could also be the most compassionate. And that was the most terrifying revelation of all, that kindness could exist anywhere, even in the heart of a predator, if that predator chose to make it so. It was a choice. And watching humans make that choice, every day, in every action, was both terrifying and beautiful. Hannah had come to this assignment expecting to survive. Instead, she had learned to truly live.